me respond as copiously as the issues were raised. First Electoral Commission. First Electoral Commission. I have a letter from a press release by the Electoral Commission dated 2nd July 2025. And it reads, elections in selected polling stations in Ablekuma North constituency. As part of its commitment to resolve the impasse regarding the Ablekuma North constituency parliamentary elections, the Electoral Commission yesterday, Tuesday, 1st July 2025, met with the representatives of the National Democratic Congress and New Patriotic Party. The meeting, which was a follow-up to an earlier meeting held on Thursday, 12 June 2025, provided both parties the opportunity to brief the Commission on any new developments regarding the said constituency. The parties informed the Commission that their positions put forward at the last meeting remained unchanged. The NDC held the view that the election should be rerun in 37 polling stations because scanned pink sheets from 37 polling stations which were used to collate the results were provided by the NPP. The NPP was of the view that the results from 3 outstanding polling stations be collated and a winner declared, since the NDC agents had verified and confirmed the scanned polling stations results they presented. It is important for the public to understand that the issue in contention has to do with the fact that 37 pink sheets provided by the MPP and used to collate the results were scanned copies. So the Electoral Commission is saying that the issue in contention is that 37 pink sheets provided by the NPP are scanned copies, not originals. The public may recall that political party supporters besieged our coalition center and destroyed a number of the pink sheets for the Ablekuma North parliamentary elections during the collation of results following the December 7 general elections. After extensive deliberations, and this is important, after extensive deliberations, the Commission informed the political parties that it will proceed to rerun the election in 19 out of the 37 polling stations. The Commission arrived at the decision to rerun the election in the underlisted polling stations because the 19 scanned polling station results used for the collation, though approved by agents of both political parties, were not verified by the presiding officers responsible for those polling stations. This is the reason. The Electoral Commission is saying that their own presiding officers did not verify the 19 polling stations. And because their presiding officers did not verify the 19 polling stations, they don't think that those polling station results should be used. And that is why they are deciding to rerun those 19 polling stations. You made reference to the presentations made by the EC in this house. If you recall, after the EC's presentation, I drew the attention to the fact that the matter in contention was the issue of verification of the pink sheets, the scanned ones, and that their own presiding officers did not verify the pink sheets. And that day he was calling on this house to help them to have security to collate the results. And I said that for this house to help you, this house has to verify that what you are telling us is true. And I know because everything happened on television and the presiding officers did not verify those pink sheets. So if you want us to help you, we will conduct an inquiry in this house. And if we establish that your own presiding officers verify those pink sheets, then we will direct the police to come and provide you with the protection you need to collect the results. This is what has made them to go back, think over it, and now decide that they have to come clean on the fact that their own presiding officers did not verify the scanned pink sheets. And if the scanned pink sheets were not verified by their own presiding officers, on what basis should that be used? That is why they are calling for a rerun of those 19 polling stations. I don't know why you are afraid. Why are you afraid? Why are you afraid? Why are you afraid? So please, let us not try to politicize this and say that because recently the national chairman of one political party made a statement, the EC is intimidated. No, it's just fair and reasonable that if their own officers did not verify those pink sheets, that they should rerun those polling stations. Mr. Speaker, Galamsey activities. Indeed, it is our promise that we will deal firmly and ruthlessly with Galamsey. We have embarked on a relentless war to end Galamsey. We have confiscated a lot of excavators. Indeed, if you go around the country and you go to Galamsey sites, you will not see excavators engage in Galamsey operations. That I can assure you. We still have some of our own citizens engage in the artisanal mining activities. Indeed, long before Galamsey became a major issue, artisanal small-scale mining activities were ongoing in our various communities. What made it a major environmental problem is when sponsors introduced the use of huge earth-moving equipments, that is excavators, dozers, tipper tractors, trucks, and etc. That increased astronomically the level of devastation of our environment. If we are able to stop the excavators and earth-moving equipment from being used, and even just confine it to the artisanal activities of people just, using pickaxes and etc., would have considerably narrowed down the extent of damage caused by Galamsey. So I'm happy and I'm confident, and I can report with all confidence that the level of devastation that we saw a year ago is no longer happening at the Galamsey sites. We are not saying that we have totally wiped out Galamsey, but we have dealt a deadly blow at Galamsey. We have dealt a deadly blow at Galamsey. We have recovered the forests. Those who are involved and those who have taken over our forest, we have recovered the forest. And the minister was here and the minister reported on all these things. So please don't present a picture out there as if nothing has been done about Galamsey. Mr. Speaker, the legal framework for policies being raised earlier on, and in particular the issue of the 24-hour economy that was launched yesterday, you must understand 24 hours economy. And it was presented to this house by the head of the secretariat. He came here, committee of the whole meeting, and he did a presentation to us. And it was launched yesterday. All Ghanaians were invited to the lunch. And as members of parliament, even when we are not invited to an event, we monitor the events on radio. Many of the issues that you are raising here, you heard them on radio. You heard them on social media, on various platforms. You were not there. Were you there when 16 excavators got missing? How did you know? How did you get to know? You heard it. You heard that one. But you didn't hear about the launching of the 24-hour economy. Selective hearing. So, 24-hour economy, the $4 billion that is being discussed is not government money. The $4 billion is going to be private sector money with small government support to catalyze those ones. And those matters were mentioned in the budget. The President, in addressing Parliament, informed Parliament in the State of the Nation address. The Finance Minister mentioned it in Parliament here in the budget. When he comes for media review, he will repeat it. And every single policy, when it requires legislative approval, rest assured that I sit in cabinet, it will come to this parliament for approval. Every single policy that requires legislative approval. So it's not going to be a policy or program that will not be monitored. And you ask the question that what are the incentives? That no incentive has been introduced by this government since assuming office. That is palpably untrue. Mr. Speaker, since this government took over, we have introduced policies that have led to the strengthening of the Ghana cedi. That is the major hindrance to the private sector. When you have an unstable currency that is ballooning and they cannot predict and they cannot project and they cannot plan their businesses, they cannot negotiate with their suppliers and they cannot determine prices because every day the dollar was changing and they were having difficulties managing their business, and some were actually closing shop and moving to our neighboring countries. There can be no incentive better than stabilizing the dollar, bringing it down and stabilizing it. And that is the greatest incentive to the business community. There is no better incentive than managing inflation properly. And we have managed inflation properly. There is no business incentive better than keeping the monies in the banks so that when businesses need money and they go to the banks, they have money to borrow. When government goes there and use treasury bill and take all the money from the banks, and businesses cannot go to the banks and borrow, no matter what tax exemptions you give them and the 1D, 1F, they will collapse, they will fail, and they will run and leave this country. But today, government is not borrowing from the banks. There's so much money in the banks. Some businessmen have told me that banks are chasing them with money and they don't need the money. That is the best incentive that you can have for the private sector. We are fighting corruption ruthlessly. And that is what the business community needs. That you fight corruption, deal with red tapes, so that business can move smoothly unhindered. And lastly, as we do this, the international rating agencies are rating us better and better. Those are the real incentives that our private sector need. And they need stable and reliable electricity. And that is why we are taking steps to make sure that they have reliable energy. And that is why, to deal with the reliable energy, you must deal with the debt. Yesterday, the Minister for Energy and Green Transition was here in this house, and he communicated to this house that we have a debt of over 64 billion Ghana cedis in the energy sector. This debt must be paid. And who has to pay them? Who has to pay them? It still has to be the same taxpayer, the same consumer. No, you ask the questions, I will give you the answers. Why do you want me to conclude? And that is why a 14% or 16% increase is fair, because 64 billion Ghana cedis debt is owed by the energy sector and has to be paid. It has to be paid by consumers, paid by taxpayers, and managed by government. And the minister was at pains yesterday to explain the extent to which he is ensuring that the debt is reduced through efficiency in the management of the sector, efficiency in procurement. I know of agencies that NDC took over, and we have discovered that some agencies have procured goods and services that will only be used or can only be consumed for 5 years by those agencies. Why will you procure goods and services that can only be consumed in 5 years? Why do you burden an agency to that extent? That is why we are compelled to introduce increments in tariffs to address those issues. And let's get to the employment and the so-called complaints of dismissal. Mr. Speaker, the Foreign Affairs Ministry is a different ball game. There are state-owned companies and corporations who will never make profit because we have saddled them with huge labor expenditure. We have employed and recruited far beyond the numbers that they need to be able to perform properly and profitably. And so some of them are compelled to lay off some of the workers. Otherwise, they can never be profitable. The Energy Committee had a retreat with the energy sector agencies. Ghana Gas Company reported to the Energy Committee that when the Ghana Gas facilities were established, they had 120 workers managing the facilities. The facilities are still the same. They haven't increased in size. Today, they have 1,200 workers. A facility that can be managed by 120 workers, and you go and burden that facility with 1,200 workers. And yet you haven't added additional facilities. The same plant, no change. And you want the management to continue to make profit with that level of burdening. And that is why in some cases, when they have an opportunity, they will have to make sure that they cancel the employment so that they can have some room to manage and try and be profitable. So please, let us clean the mess. Let us clean the mess. This country has to be reset. Some of us have to pay a price. We have to pay a price so that this country can be reset. So I plead with you, don't over-politicize every single decision that has been taken. Because if we are really going to go on that route, everything that you did, we will expose you. Mr. Speaker, the issue about 4 deputy ministers, I'm sure when the appointment is done, the communication will be to your very good self and you will announce it. I have already touched on the excavators. We will check with the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources if indeed any excavator got missing, where it got missing, and he will come and then explain to this House. Sitting times, yes, if we are going to sit on Mondays and Saturdays, I think ideally if we start early in the mornings, Mondays, early in the mornings, Saturdays, so that we can close early and then we can go and then attend our funerals and other programs. The mid-year budget, the date will be communicated to us very soon by the Minister for Finance. We will communicate the date. I'm sure we can communicate the date on a Saturday. Don't worry about that. The condition of air conditioners, I'm sure they are being worked on by the relevant officers. And listing of outstanding referrals. Yes, we agree that all outstanding referrals should be listed so that we can put pressure on the various chairpersons of committees and enable them to come under some pressure to deliver on their promise to this House. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I urge members to adopt the report.
Yes, Honorable Animedo. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the majority leader started by saying that people have turned the business statement into press conference. So I was expecting him to answer the questions that he needed to answer and ignore the press conference aspect. But instead, in the dispatch box, he joined the people doing the press conference. And this is not fair. Should not be encouraged. In so doing, he forgot the answer that I was requiring. My question was that since we are going to sit on Mondays and Saturdays, does it affect our timetable? Because of your press conference, you forgot. Mr. Speaker hasn't called you yet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the proposal, because we want to sit for a certain number of days in order to be able to have our allies mature, the proposal was whether we should extend when we go on recess or utilize Mondays and then Saturdays so that we don't have to extend when we go on recess. So Speaker opted to allow us to sit on Mondays, and I think the planned recess was supposed to be 25th, yeah, around 25th of 25th, 26th of July. So we're hoping to keep within that time frame. Thank you.
Honorable members, the leader and Honorable Anyimendo raised a very important issue, and as a House, we need to give it a thorough deliberations. Honorable members, the rules governing business statement are very clear. Order 69 is clear. 71 is very clear. 216 indicating what the business committee is supposed to do. They are very clear.